Hi and welcome back. This is going to be a really fun episode. In this video, we're going to walk through how to get your application online. So you're actually going to be able to deploy the application you have so you can actually see the way it's going to look on the internet. And obviously right now we don't have a lot of functionality built into it, but it's at least fun to see. And if you're building this with a team or you're building it for a client that likes to be very hands-on and see how the progress is going, this is a great way of getting it live without having to spend a lot of time working with servers and deployment plans. So what we're going to use is Heroku. Heroku has a great connection with GitHub and with the whole Ruby on Rails workflow process, and so you're going to be able to see that with a very minimal amount of time and effort, we'll be able to get our application online and be able to see it live on the web. Heroku is also great because you can use it for free. It's free for developers, so you can line up a bunch of different applications, build them out, and test them without having to pay anything. They do have some paid versions for when you start to get some more users, but those aren't necessary in the beginning. So the first thing to do is sign up for your free Heroku account just by clicking this button. Sign up for the account. Do the confirmation email. Remember what your username and or your email address and password are for it, and then I'm going to just hit pause on the video while you do that. I already have a Heroku account, so I'm not going to go through the full sign up process, but go through it, hit pause, and then come back when you're done, and we're going to get your app live on the web. The very first thing to do is to get into our directory. So do cd and then whatever you named your app. So do cd enterprise 8. And now what we're going to do is do a Git Status. And what this does is it just ensures that we don't have anything locally that is that's pending to be committed. So it says that we're on the branch master and it's up to date, so that's all good. So the next step is to type in Heroku login, and it's going to ask us for our email address and then the password. Perfect. So now next thing to do is to type in the name of your application. So type in Heroku Create, and then whatever your application is, it has to be unique, meaning no one else has ever had it, similar to like a Twitter username or something like that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try Enterprise 8 and see if no one else has ever done it. You'll have to pick out a different name if this one's even available. So let's see. I'll hit return. And there we go. So that all worked. And so now I'm going to be able to access, and it says it right here. If you look in detail, it says http enterprise8.herokuapp.com. So this application will be available from this URL, which is really nice. And you also see has the bar, and then it has connected our Git repository with it. So this is you can see how easy it is to get this live. So the last thing we're going to do is do Git Push Heroku master. And so what that's doing is we're actually using Git as our middleman here. And so we're telling Git, hey, Git push to Heroku the master branch, which is our code base right now. So we're going to hit return, and it says authenticity of host Heroku.com can't be established. Are you sure you want to continue? Just hit yes, and that's because this is the first time we're doing it. It's just making sure that we're not trying to do anything too scary. So hit yes. And it says, could not read from the remote repository. Please make sure that you have the correct access rights. Let's see. Yes, I forgot. When we're setting up a new account, you have to set up your SSH keys or else it's not going to work. There's a couple of different things that we can do to get this fixed. Once again, I do not edit out these things because it would be very easy to make it look like everything's run smoothly. However, I've been doing this for long enough to know it rarely does, so I want you to see the pitfalls you can run into, because a lot of these things are going to be things that that you're going to face. So the first thing we need to do is to add our to upload our SSH key. So we're going to just type in Heroku keys add little tilde sign /.ssh/id rsa.pub. That should be right, I believe. Hit return. Oh yes, and before we try to push up, there's one last change we actually have to make in our app file. So open up your files here on the left-hand side and open up your gem file. And you'll see right here on, for me it's line 7, it may be a little bit different for you. It says use SQLite as a database for active record. That works fine locally, however that is not what we want for production because Heroku doesn't like it, and that will throw an error. So if you just tried to push up again and you got an error message, don't worry, the gem file has to be edited. So to do that, you have to type in group and then semicolon and or colon in production, just like that, and then the word do. Hit enter, and then type in gem PG and put quotation marks around PG, and then hit end. Come down, give it another line, do group, development, do, and bring that up, hit end. Okay, so what this is going to do is we're going to get rid of this comment. In production, which means on Heroku or any kind of production environment, we're going to use PG, which is short for the Postgres database. In development, which means here locally on the Nitrous server, we're going to use SQLite. SQLite's really nice and easy to use. It's very simple to install locally, doesn't cause a lot of bugs, so that's what we're going to do locally. And so now we have this file, just click save, exit out of it, come down to the console and just type in bundle. And what that's going to do is it's going to kind of reshape our environment. It's going to install Postgres and let us use Postgres for our deployment on Heroku. So before we push out, we're obviously going to have to do another git commit. And as you can see right here, it's installing Postgres, and it's going to just take a few seconds for it to do that. And there it is, that all went through. So now if we hit Git Status, we'll see that the gem file and the gemfile.lock files have been modified. Never touch the gemfile.lock, you don't have to do anything with it, just configure the gem file, and we'll be doing that a lot throughout this course. So all we have to do is do git add, a space, and a period, then git commit, -m, and then say configured environment to work with Heroku in the quote, hit return, and now we want to push. So git push, type in our username for Git and our password. That all went through good, and now we want to do git push Heroku master. And sometimes, depending on how long it's been, Heroku may ask you for your email address and your password before it pushes it up. And I'm going to pause the video while this loads so you don't have to listen to me ramble on, and I'll be back as soon as it comes back, whether it gave us an error message or it worked. So I'll see you in a second. Welcome back, and it worked. If it worked for you, this is what you should be seeing. It should be showing you your URL, and it should say to get and then master to master. And so that's going to be what you're going to want to see. If you saw any errors, put them in the comments section and I can help you work through them, because there are a number of different errors that you may run into. I'm going to show you one that you're guaranteed to run into here in a second. When I pop this open, it's actually going to say this page does not exist. So hit return, there you go. That doesn't mean anything went wrong with it. If you remember correctly, we never put anything. We kept the default Rails page on the home page, and Heroku doesn't really look to that as a real site or real page. So it's going to throw up just there are no pages here. That's not a problem, because if you remember, we created the invoices component of the application. So to access it, hit -invoices. And there you go. So right here, now we have access to all of the same things that we had before. One thing that if you run, well, let's actually run a test one through, make sure that it all works. So we'll say the date was yesterday, the company is test, the tax rate is 5.5, I'm consistent, and the salesperson is me. Just see if this works. Okay, that worked. Sometimes when you're running a Heroku deployment, when you go to do something on the database side, it may not work, and what you have to do is, and if you run the test and you got an error, you just have to run this one command. I'm not going to do it. Well, actually, I can't do it because it doesn't hurt anything. You have to do Heroku run rake db migrate. Type in exactly like that, hit return. It's going to tell me there's nothing to migrate, and so it doesn't do anything on my side. However, so you see it didn't actually do anything. If it would have given you a few lines of return values, that would mean that it performed the migration. And so then go back, hit refresh, and now you can see it's working just like it was locally. So if you went through that, congratulations. There's a lot of power in being able to deploy things remotely, and Heroku makes it pretty easy to do that. Once again, I do not like having to go back and I don't think it's smart to make edits, and that's the reason why I show you these errors as they're happening to me, so I can show you what the fixes are. It'd be very easy to go back and make some changes, make it look all nice and pretty and like everything ran smoothly. That is not going to happen when you're doing it 9 times out of 10. I've been building web applications for a while. I run into way more problems than and it's very rare for things to work the first time. So I want to put as many different errors as I possibly can into these tutorials so that you can see how they get fixed. That Heroku run rake db migrate is something that I'll run into Heroku errors on my day-to-day deployments, and then I'll remember, oh yes, I need to migrate the database on Heroku, and then that fixes it. So things like that are going to really be key in just in things you can memorize and different bug fixes, so that you can not have to be scouring the internet every single time you run into an error message. You just know automatically what to use. So let me know in the comments if you have any bugs that I didn't run into, and then I'll see you on the next video.